All right, thanks for joining me today. My name is Brian Hurd, and I manage the Coursework Scholarships and Prizes Unit at Macquarie University. And we are a team of 3 dedicated staff members that look after scholarships for undergraduate and postgraduate coursework students. So I've worked at the university since 2001. I've had roles in admissions, enrollments, and now scholarships and prizes. Before coming to Macquarie, I had about 10 years of experience in the higher education sector in the U.S. So some of you may be aware that we have a strategic framework that we use that the Vice Chancellor has set out called Framing Our Futures. And scholarships fit nicely into that around the transformative nature of education in people's lives. So that's what we strive for, and we've often seen students in focus groups, they say without the scholarship assistance, they might not have been able to attend university or certainly been able to focus as much on university as they could have if they didn't get the scholarship. So in the 20 minutes or so that we have together, I want to go over opportunities for scholarships at Macquarie University. My area looks after scholarships, as I've mentioned, for local coursework students. So that doesn't include higher degree research students and doesn't include international students. Those 2 cohorts are looked after by their areas, so Macquarie International or the higher degree research office. So I'll also give you some tips that you can use when you're filling in the application form. So let's get started. Before I do, I'll tell you that the scholarships I'm going over today are still open for Session 1, 2019. Most of them will have a closing date of the 4th of January for 2019. So we do have 2 types of scholarships at the university. We've got academic merit and leadership. So these scholarships focus on an applicant's strengths both in and outside of the classroom. And it can include academic success, leadership experience, or even leadership potential, community engagement, sporting success, etc. And then we have a large number of scholarships that help students provide access to universities for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. And then there are some scholarships that might have a component of both of these types. So it's important when you're searching out scholarships to see exactly what the selection criteria is. And we have a very helpful scholarship search tool on our website, which what you can do is you basically go on to it's mq.edu.au/scholarships, and you put in individual, your selection criteria. So if you're a regional and rural student, you put that in as a selection criteria. You do a search, and it brings up the scholarships that are pertinent to you. And of course, you can do a more general search as well. So this is a good place to start. If anybody doesn't know what the range of scholarships that we have on offer, you can go to that website and start searching there. And it's also good at this point to point out that we have scholarships for students throughout their degrees. So this is a spot, this tool will be a place you can come throughout your degree to see what scholarships are on offer for you at any given time. Now I'll quickly go through some schemes that are still open for Session 1, 2019. So we've got our most prestigious, most valuable scholarship, which is our Merit Scholarship. So this is a highly competitive scholarship and non-deferrable, which means that if you made an offer for that in 2019, you'll have to take that up, and is awarded on the basis of academic merit. But we do also consider other factors as well. So it's open to 2018 HSC students who are expecting an ATAR of 98.5 or above. And of course, if you took a gap year in 2018, you can also apply. Applications are open now, and they'll close on the 4th of January. So the PACE Scholarship. So PACE is professional and community engagement. And what we have done is we've created a scholarship that recognizes students come to us with a lot of experience in practical engagement and also leadership and service. So we're recognizing that straight out of the gate. So it's open to new undergraduates, so that can be current school leavers, but then also non-current school leavers. There's an indicative ATAR of 93, but we encourage people, if you have a wide range of experience, to put in an application, and it will get assessed and looked at with all of the applications. Those close as well on the 4th of January. It says 2018 there, but it's 2019. So one of our biggest areas for scholarships are regional rural scholarships. So these provide accommodation or accommodation support for students who are relocating to study at Macquarie, relocating to North Sydney or North Ryde to study here. So recipients of this scholarship receive a fully funded standard room at Dunmore College which is valued at more than $18,000 per annum. So it's a very valuable scholarship, and you can have that for up to 4 years of study. The other important thing to point out is that if you're interested in living in a college, you should contact them separately to discuss the scholarship options, because they have scholarships available that aren't attached to university funding. So it's also important to note that our equity scholarships, which I mentioned earlier, these are for students who have demonstrated financial or significant challenges that are oftentimes beyond their control. The most essential criteria is that a student be able to demonstrate financial need. And what that means is that a student is in receipt of a Centrelink allowance, or a student can demonstrate that they have exceptional financial hardship because of their circumstances. We also have a category for new students called predicted financial disadvantage, or predicted financial hardship, which means that once you start at university or once you become independent from your parents, you then become eligible for Centrelink or eligible for a payment, and that means you can apply based on that predictive financial hardship. We also do take into other factors. We take into account other factors: ongoing medical conditions, disability, ongoing effects of abuse, care or sole parent responsibility, English language difficulty. And the good thing about equity scholarships is that they're open year-round. The applications are open year-round, so you can apply at any point, and this is true because students sometimes have a change in circumstances. So what may happen now, or what your circumstances may be now, may change as you study. So it's important to know that these scholarships are there to support you at any point during your study. So on this slide, we just give you an idea of the type of scholarships that are available in the equity scholarship category. So our education cost scholarship, which is $5,456 for 4 years. And we don't tell students what they need to spend that money on, because each student has different circumstances. We've had students in the past use it for child care costs. We've had students use it for second-hand cars so that they can get to university because they're not on a transport line. Then the accommodation scholarship, which is double that. So in 2019, that'll be almost $11,000. And that's more because that recognizes the ongoing cost, the initial and the ongoing costs of relocating to study here. It's not meant to cover the full cost of your accommodation, but what it's meant to do is to support you finding accommodation, whether it be in a college or in a private provider. We also have a scholarship for students from refugee backgrounds, so that's $5,456. But we also have other support that we provide students who are coming from refugee backgrounds so that they can get the support that they need to transition to university. One of the things that we really are focusing on now and in the near future are faculty scholarships. There's quite a few available. Most of them have closed by this point, but there are some that are still available, and I'll go over one of those now, but encourage you to look at the scholarship tool to see what else is available. Our Faculty of Business and Economics has a Dean's Merit Scholarship Scheme, which there's 2 levels of scholarship. You can see there the $10,000 and the $5,000. Those are based on raw ATAR scores. And this Faculty of Business and Economics have also put together a program where these students can be involved in extracurricular activities within the faculty so that they can get more access to academics, they can get access to internships, that type of thing. The good thing about this scheme is you don't have to apply separately for this scholarship. Everybody who's made an offer in the December round and subsequent rounds will be considered for the scholarship automatically. So there are other scholarship opportunities available at Macquarie. We've just got a listing here, but it's important to know that these change, and this certainly is an exhaustive list of scholarships that we have on offer. So sports scholarships, alumni-funded, donor-funded, scholarships for students who want to go on exchange. There are prizes, residential accommodation providers, and there are lots of external scholarships. A lot of students now we're finding are going on overseas experiences through the Colombo Scholarship Program, which is Commonwealth funded. So there's all these opportunities available for you now, but also as you continue to study at Macquarie. So it's important to keep in touch with us or your faculty, or if you're involved in a club or organization. The worst thing they can say is, no, we don't have any scholarships available, where the surprising thing is they could say, yes, we actually do, thanks for asking, which has happened. One of the areas we looked at improving for 2019 is to make it easier for students to apply for the different scholarships that we offer. Up to this year, we had, for these different scholarship schemes, we would have had 6 or 7 different scholarship application forms. So what we've done is we've streamlined them into one application form, and this meant looking at selection criteria and working with partners and donors to develop a set of common questions. So students don't have to nominate which scholarship on this list they're applying for. Through the assessment process, it'll become clear to us which scholarship you're interested in based on the questions that you answer. So there you can see the list there, and it's from the merit, the PACE, which I've talked about, but then also a range of accommodation scholarships and donor-funded scholarships as well. So it's important, one of the things that we weren't able to do for 2019 is you can't start the application and then come back to it. So we've given you a list here, and it's available on our website as well, a list of things that you need to have available before you start. Because like I said, if you get halfway through the application and you say, I'll come back to that later, well, you can't do that. You'll have to do it all in one go. So you can see the name of the Centrelink payment you receive, if applicable, your Macquarie ID number, UAC application number, your ATAR, if it's available, and the name of the course that you're going to be enrolled in or that you're applied for. So it's not that hard to have all of these things handy, but it's important that you do so that you can then fill in the application in a timely fashion. So one of the things we get a lot of questions around is personal statement. So what we've tried to do is we've moved away from the just give us 2 pages and you can talk about whatever you want. So we've tried to give you an idea of some things that we'd like to know about you for these scholarship schemes. So your personal statement should address your involvement in a leadership or community service project or projects or activities. So what we're asking you to do is to outline the tasks that you undertook, describe the outcome of your involvement for you as an individual, others and or the community, and how much time did you commit to this activity. So we're trying to get an idea for the applicant outside of the classroom, some of the things that you're passionate about in the local community or things that you're passionate about. It can be in school, volunteer activities or community engagement projects. And people have asked us, well, what other things would you like to know? So we've come up with some of the people who assess the applications. What are some other things that students, it would be nice for us to know? What is your most significant achievement? Describe the situation and why the achievement was significant. What do you consider your personal strength and areas do you think you can improve on? Always a tough one to answer in any forum. What do you hope to do once you complete a Macquarie University degree? And for students who are just coming out of their HSC, that's a hard thing to really focus on, but it's important for you at least to have we're not saying that you're going to be an actuary at such and such a firm, just giving us an idea for where you see yourself in 5 years. How have you grown? That type of information. And then, of course, if you've been able to overcome any adversity, we want to know how you've done that, how that's impacted on your study, how that's impacted on your life. And tell us exactly what you think you're going to need, what kind of support you'll need at Macquarie so that we can ensure that that support is available for you. So we also ask for students to upload a resume. And this really can be a bit more free form, but here's a list of things that we would like you to include. Study results, prize competitions, positions of leadership, work experience, extracurricular activities. And it doesn't have to be dot point. You can go into a bit of information if you wanted to give us specific details about a specific position of leadership you held. You can talk to us about some of the things you did while you did that, while you were undertaking that leadership role. We do ask for 2 references. So your references can be from your school if one's available, or from someone who can talk about your suitability for a Macquarie University scholarship. We find that a lot of times the school reference, it can be a bit dull and it can be a bit not free-form, but pretty templated. So if you get a copy of that and you're not happy with what it says about you, feel free to go and get one from somebody else. Go and get one from a teacher that perhaps helped you with a project or was an advisor of a group you were involved in. It can be somebody that you worked for. It can be a boss or manager at your workplace. It can be a church leader in the church. Really can be anybody. We don't want to say who it has to be from, because you know who's going to give you the best letter of reference and help you put your best foot forward. And then we also ask you if you want to upload any other information. So this can be about your disadvantage. It can also be about work experience. It can be anything that you think we'd want to know. The thing we don't want is individual certificates of achievement or individual certificates of completion, because those should be listed on your resume. Okay? So applying for an equity scholarship is much easier and more condensed because they work, it's a UAC process, University's Admission Center process. So they work with the admission side of things. So a lot of the information that you put in, whether it be in your school recommendation scheme application or it could be in your educational access scheme application, it draws into the equity scholarship. But we also do Commonwealth-funded Indigenous Student Success Program scholarships through UAC, and only one application is needed. And when I say that, that means if you're applying for a study at any other university in New South Wales in the ACT, you can use that one application form. Applications are open now. We don't have enough scholarships for everybody, unfortunately, so applications are assessed on the basis of financial hardship and disadvantage. So how it works is students who demonstrate the most need and come from the most disadvantaged backgrounds will be the ones who will get the scholarship in the first instance. Okay. Now, financial support is something that's important for students who are studying at university, but it's important to know that the university has other supports for students, not just students from disadvantaged backgrounds, but for any student who finds themselves at university and have things that they need to do for the first time. So we have a health and well-being and welfare service called Campus Wellbeing. They can help you with budgeting and strategies to manage money, access to financial counseling in the community. The university administers a student loans and grants scheme. So what they do is students come to us if they have an unavoidable, we had a student who needed knee reconstruction, so they needed to get taxis back and forth to the university. So they came to us and gave us that information, and we were able to give them a bit of money to help support them through that. So it's not ongoing support, but it's if you find yourself in a situation that you don't think you can get out of, go to Campus Wellbeing because they can help you, point you in the right direction. We even have a $50 emergency loan, so no questions asked. Students go to the Student Connect or go to the Financial Services Office. You can lose your wallet. Students might need it to pay for prescription drugs. So that's something that we do. Campus Wellbeing also will provide disability support. So if students need extended time on tests or special test provisions, they're the ones you'd go and see. They provide ongoing counseling support for students. So it's a good place to go, or at least know that it's there if you do need that support. And of course we have our Career Hub, which provides students with part-time and casual employment opportunities so that students can supplement work and study at the same time, because a lot of students will have to have a part-time job while they are here. So there's my contact details. If you have any questions or have any concerns, you can always get in touch with me and my team through those phone numbers. There's the web address as well for you to go and search the scholarship tool. Thanks very much for coming today.